Greetings YouTube and welcome to the Blue Corner into a Cardfight Vanguard deck profile, and this is one that I know people have been wanting to see me do my take on, and that is going to be, well, an updated version of Brawlers featuring Big Bang Knuckle Turbo. I finally have my Fist of the North Star Dragon, so I too can go ta 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 wata. I've been wanting to make that reference ever since I saw a picture of Knuckle Turbo posing as Kenshiro, because it's so true. You just go Hokuto no Ken on their board, and it's amazing. And then they are already dead. And yeah, so this is the deck updated with that. I've made one or two changes from the last build, so this should hopefully be a much quicker deck profile. I am going to talk about a couple card choices that I've made that I know a couple people aren't doing, or some people are, and there's some benefits to running certain cards here and there, so I'm going to cover those as well. But let's begin with the starter, and that is going to be Spark Kid Dragoon. The best option for Brawlers. There really isn't anything else. Grade 3 Searcher, your best plays involve having a Grade 3 in hand, so this guy either searches your next ride or he gets you a combo piece. And he provides Soul for Knuckle, Turbo, and Rising Phoenix, so there's definitely no reason not to run him. Then for the Grade 3s, of course, you got Mario and Luigi, your Big Bang Knuckle brothers, who've gotten very pricey. The Brawler hype is real. And then for the Grade 2s, 4 Chatra, Advantage Engine, amazing for that guy. Now 3 Skyhall Dragons, his effect is just becoming better and better. And finally 1 Slash Dragon. So yes, I've made a cut in order to fit in the last copy of Skyhall Dragon I'm running. And that's, I took out a grade 1. You don't know which one, actually you probably already know which one it is. For the grade 1s, 4 PGs, I'm still rocking the OG ones as number 1, I don't have a finished set of these, they're on their way, and 2, I still don't really like Anastasian here. I understand why people run them though. Unflipping damage is always helpful. Narukami doesn't really have very many means of unflipping damage. I just feel that the Brawlers don't burn the counterblast needed to justify this, whereas if you were playing Vermilion, Crimson, Vanquisher, or Eradicators, then yes, this card is much better. But in here, I think you can still get away with running Golds. Protecting your Chatra and your Slash Buster is really helpful. I still have to deal with the Cross and Laurel around here, so running these PGs is more of a local call, and not much else I can say about that. Plus, these things are from set 6. I mean, come on. They're amazing. For the rest of the ones, for Stride Enablers, for Piglma, I've seen a couple lists run the other 10k, other option. I think it's the 10k attacker. I don't remember his name offhand. I believe it's Brawler Wild Cloak Dragon. I'm just trying to see if I have it with me. I actually have my Narukami card pool on me. So, where is he? Do I have him in here? He's in my budget deck. There we are. Yeah. I've seen some lists running this guy, as he enables you to rush harder on the early game. Being a 10k attacker, he can attack your opponent's grade 1 and then the grade 2, and then he goes into the back and is a booster on grade 3, which is great. Although I still like Piglma's effect in order to be a big beefy attacker as the game goes on, as 11k versus 10k is really important on your Conquest push turns, as a Wild Clock Dragon that has the full 10k boost off of Conquest is only 20,000, so your opponent can still block that with a 10k, whereas this one they have to block with a 15k. So it just comes down to, do you like being able to rush harder early game and hit rear guards with a 10k attacker, or do you like having the access to a big beefy 10k attacker in case you just can't get to your boosters? Personally, I like this guy. Then again, I've always been more for the consistency route as opposed to just the aggro in your face route. And then lastly, 2 copies of Rising Phoenix. I had to cut one out because of Knuckle Turbo's effect conflicting with this. I'm still running this though, as Narukami is a deck that desperately needs as much extra draw power as it can get, and Phoenix helps with that. But having running 3 would make it just way too difficult to consistently use Knuckle Turbo's skill. So only running the 2. It's still helpful though. Helps you get out of that early game, which is definitely needed with this deck, as it can be very slow getting started. Then for the triggers, this hasn't changed. I'm still running the 7-5-4 lineup. It's been working out well for me. I don't really see a need to change it up. The extra draw triggers help in maintaining hand advantage for when your opponent tries to go rush hard on you, as Brawlers and Narukami in general don't really have a very good rush game, or rather they're prone to getting rushed by decks like Aquaforce, and your counter rushes really only consist of Skyhall Dragon. But the draw triggers help, because if you use your hand up to block those hits, you can at least draw into things in order to build up a hand again. And then moving on to the extra deck, which is obviously where the biggest change comes from, I'm now running 2 copies of True Brawler Big Bang Knuckle Turbo. And for those of you who don't know what this card's effect is, it's as follows. Once per turn, you can Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, and choose a copy of any card in your G-Zone that's face down and flip it face up. And if you do have a heart with a Big Bang Knuckle in this card game, this guy gains the following skill. When this unit attacks, or would attack the Vanguard, for every heart card with Brawler in its card name, you can choose up to 3 of your opponent's units and attack them instead. And he gets plus 5,000 power for each copy of himself face up in the G-Zone. So, long story short, if you happen to have this guy on top of just a single Brawler, like a Knuckle Buster, then he's going to punch 3 things. If you have him on top of a Legion, however, then you get to punch 6 things, which is, well, kinda strong. And for a short while, Podril was calling this card OP and it needs to be banned and whatnot and have you. And then Phantom Blaster Diablo came out and proved just what really bad card design is. Is Knuckle Turbo OP? He's definitely very powerful in like the field control sense in that, well, if your opponent has a full field, it's gone. Like, you see those rear guards? They're punched. I'm gonna go full Fist of the North Star on them. And yeah, like, Knuckle Turbo is something that your opponent's gonna have to be aware of, which actually leads into the other big boss card, Conquest Dragon, pretty nicely, as if they have a full board, you'll punch it out. If they don't have a full board, then you'll probably just try and donk them with Conquest because he's incredibly powerful. And in my opinion, the best Narukami G unit in the game, and probably a top 5 stride because of just how good he is. Not running 3 or even 4 copies, as the Soul Blast is a huge problem with this deck. As I already mentioned, Rising Phoenix is in here, and while I could cut out Rising Phoenix so I could fully dedicate myself to it, I think that's an even worse idea, as the draw power off of Phoenix is still very powerful. Not to be underestimated, though, is this guy's ability to get plus 5k for every other copy of himself in the G-Zone, because that basically makes him a Blizza, which is why I would consider running a 3rd copy in here, as he would get plus 10,000 power in addition to swinging for about, he basically would be swinging for 41,000. That's the number I'm thinking of. And even if you just ride him on top of a non-Legion Big Bang, then you still get to punch any 3, so you can attack the Vanguard and 2 back row units, or just sweep the front row for Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, which just makes him a very cheap Vermilion. But I still am not on the fence about running the 3rd copy. I do like it at 2, though. Should be just enough, and allows me to just run some more cards in my extra deck, like just the 2 copies of Zoras. They're just there for those instances where I'm able to snipe off a rear guard and get 2 out of the drop zone. That's still a very powerful effect, and it can screw over certain decks, much like the Cross, which is why I still have them in here, as I still play against the Cross fairly regularly. And that's, I'm trying to think what other drop zone reliant decks I play. Oh yeah, Glendios too. I can just bind reverse units out of the drop zone and make it that much difficult for them to cycle. But Glendios is a difficult matchup, so I don't know how much more this is going to help, as Rubidium just completely screws over with this guy. And that's it for those. Lastly, just 4 copies of Conquest Dragon, because as I've already alluded to, this guy's kind of really good. Being able to power up your front row by 10,000 power, pretty strong, given that I have access to 11k attackers, both from the grade 1 and grade 2 spectrum, so I can swing for 21, I can swing for 26, and yeah, he's just a pretty good finisher that's consistent. Not much else needed to use this guy. It's really nice to have Skyhowl Dragon because of this guy, as if your opponent has a full board, then you'll just Skyhowl 1 unit and then just have Conquest kill off the other one, then you get the plus 10 to the board, which is nice. And that's pretty much it for the deck itself. Not much to say, other than it's probably standard, but this is Brawlers, and there isn't a whole lot of room for like being super techy. I've listed all the alternative card choices off the top of my head that you can run, be it running Anastasia's or Wild Clock Dragon, or you could run Dragonic Death Scythe like I've seen a couple of builds do. If you're running Death Scythe, then you run this, but yeah, that's about it for the deck itself. It's fairly potent. I'd say it's one of the better control decks in the game. It's not hard stun. That is Mega Colony, and I know someone who is building that deck, so I should hopefully be able to get a deck profile of Machining Destroyer and how stupid that card is. Yeah, you want to talk about some disgustingly designed cards. Take a look at Machining Destroyer. Oh boy. Vanguard stun is very real, and that deck, or rather that clan getting support in the next set, BTG4, is potentially very scary, as they'll get their Limerick Enabler, which makes their Break Ride live, although I don't know if they'd ever do that, but just if they get more machining cards like triggers and such, who knows. But in any case, that's all I got for this deck profile. As for what you can expect next, I'm going to try and build Sanctuary Guard, see how that works, and do a profile of that. And yeah, that's about all I can say off the top of my head. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and until next time, this is Boost39, jacking out.